Aloha, everyone. It's Lady, your friendly neighborhood Hesher, and welcome to the Hesh Files, a place where I interview musicians about all of the strange and unusual things that they see out on the road. So strap on your best high tops, ease the seat back, and get ready to be a metaphorical fly on the wall because we're going Heshin'. Aloha, everyone. I'm your host, Levy, and welcome back to the Hesh Files. We're putting the pedal to the metal and taking a trip back in time to the 80s. Coming all the way from Montreal, Canada, we've got Tyler Hoare himself of the most radical, nostalgic 80s shred metal band in existence, Blessed by a Broken Heart. Tyler, why don't you give us an aloha and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hello. Tell about myself. Right now I'm living in South Shore, Montreal. I own two tattoo shops, and I've been tattooing for quite a while. Actually, I've been
Okay.
tattooing since '97,
Damn.
and yeah, now I'm just running two tattoo shops. I'm doing a little music myself on the side right now.
Okay.
I have a dog named Snake.
That's
I
kind of funny because I have a cat named Snake.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
Snake Plissken.
Right. Yeah, that's basically where I got mine from too.
Nice,
Yeah, I got a
nice.
dog. Besides that, and yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Besides that, like I said, I'm doing some music on my own. I was doing like a bunch of covers and stuff for a while, and now I'm actually working on some synthwave stuff.
Okay, hell yeah.
And yeah, in terms of the band, we did a few shows. Was it last year? I don't even know. Like since COVID, like I think like in my mind, COVID was like last year, and it's like
Oh
5 years.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like I
COVID
don't know.
fucked everything up.
Yeah. So like yeah, we did basically what happened. We did two like reunion festival shows.
Okay,
This guy hit us up that like kind of was a fan of the band back in the day, and he puts on like some festivals in the States. So and he was like, "Hey, would you guys get back together and do two festivals?" So we're like,
damn.
yeah, like it'd been like 10 years. We stopped in like 2012, so it'd been like 10 years.
Yeah, I'd spoken to Sonny and he spoke a lot about the farewell tour.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I was stoked when you guys came back, and it was what, like, I think it was 2023 when you guys put out your first track in almost 10 years.
Yeah, we got, well, that I guess that's, yeah, I guess it was 2 years ago then. So we got hit up to do this festival, and we were like, okay, let's do it. And then once we got back together, we were like, well, got back together, we played a few shows, and then we were like, yeah, let's try and put out some new music. And
Hell yeah.
so yeah, we were like, yeah, let's try and do some new music. And actually, like some of the tracks that we put out were actually like legit music that we had already demoed, like probably in like I don't even know, like 2008 or something. So
Damn.
we still have like, or it might even be before that. I think it was like tracks that we had demoed for, even for like pedal to the metal. Like
Oh wow, okay.
we had a whole bunch of tracks that like basically a lot of them were stuff that my first drummer Frank was had written, and he
Okay.
demoed out all this stuff on, like he demoed out a whole bunch of tracks, and he basically we just had them in like this vault of songs that we didn't use, because like we would demo out songs, and then we would put lyrics to them, and then there was a bunch that just never got used. So it was
Sure.
kind of cool because we actually got some real authentic songs that were like, to me, like our official, like our sound that everyone pretty much like knew us from was pedal to the metal. Like our
Yeah.
first record was like like breakdowns and stuff, and then we went kind of that, like a bit more like there was 80s hints of stuff, but then we kind
Yeah.
of more, we went a lot more 80s, and singing and screaming. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was, we kind of like found our sound, and then like when we came back, we were like, yeah, we got a bunch of these demos that we can actually probably use.
Hell yeah.
And that's what happened. But like we've since then we've written like some new stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
we still have, like I said, we probably have like maybe 10 to 15 demoed songs that never used from like that time. So
Damn. Okay. Well, actually, because you had mentioned pedal to the metal, and then a little bit before that,
we didn't get as big as like most of the bands that, well, like a lot of the bands we took on tour like became huge, you know what I mean?
mhm.
But we still have these like crazy like cult followers that like
Yeah.
kids that have every one of our song, like every demo that we did that I totally forgot that existed. Like
Wow.
I don't even know how they got them, like so that's where like it would be funny for those people who like, have everything and be like,
Yeah.
where the hell is my studio? So yeah, I mean, we'd taken out like a lot of bands on their first. Like we took out A Day to Remember on their first tour.
No shit.
2005, it was their first tour. That was like crazy. Like I think we did like a full U.S. tour, and we were out for we were out for like 5 months or something. And it was funny because
Wow.
we did our first show on that tour was in New York, and we booked a show before the tour, and we
Okay.
opened for Striper. I don't know if you know who
Yeah.
Striper is.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
fucking
so
rad.
Striper was like one of my favorite bands when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't even know how it happened, but like somehow we got on this, and it was like basically right before like we were like we were all into 80s music, right? And we were playing, and we had the 80s look, and we
Hmm.
had like we had the 80s toms, and but like we definitely didn't sound 80s, right? But like in our heads, we were like this 80s metal band, right?
Yeah.
And it's in like it's like a stadium, right? And we play, we opened for Striper, and they're sound checking, and we're in the stadium alone with them for like 4 hours. I think
Jesus.
I think they hadn't played in a while as well, so like they were setting
Okay.
up, they're trying to like, and they were going, I was like losing my mind. I was like, this is amazing. And then like we opened for them, and we get on stage, and everyone just kind of sees it like our look or whatever, and they're like not sure, and then we start playing, and it's like everyone's just like, what the hell is this? Like it's all these old dudes. You could tell they just like pulled out cut off jean vest to go see
Yeah.
like Striper, and they're expecting like like for like crazy, and like we get on, and we're like screaming, and
Yeah.
like
Just blowing their minds.
out of nowhere, like this one dude in the middle. It was like a movie. Like this one big fat biker dude in the middle. He's like, yeah, and like starts like fist pumping, and then like a bunch of his friends did, and then like everyone kind of got into it, and then after like people were coming up to us, yeah, that was sick. But like it was literally like it felt like the scene from like Back to the Future where like Marty's like starts playing guitar,
Yeah.
but then he like goes off, and like everyone's just kind of like like
Yeah.
what the hell is this?
Yeah. Yeah, right there, right there. Yeah, you guys were at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, and everybody just
Yeah,
freezes like, what
yeah.
the fuck is happening?
Yeah, exactly. So that happened, and then we get on the A Day to Remember tour. Well, it's basically a tour we booked on MySpace at the time, and like,
Well, hold on, real quick. We just got to throw up a rest in peace for MySpace. I mean, I don't think like there's so many people out there that don't even know. I mean, so many bands got their start because of MySpace. I mean, I'm probably pretty sure that's how I know you guys.
yeah, I mean, so when we started, we were the biggest band on MySpace in metal.
Damn.
Like in like 2005,
Yeah, yeah,
on MySpace, we had the most plays, and then it was System of a Down. Like, and that's
yeah.
how I know this because that's how we got Sean in the band. So
Okay,
Sean,
okay.
Sean messages me because he thinks we're like the biggest band in the world, But the thing
Yeah.
is, like, to anyone who knows anything about MySpace, like MySpace was not real life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like we had like literally we were probably like one of the first bands that looked like the my like what we looked like, what people thought of us during like pedal to metal. That's not what we were, how we started. Like we
Mhm.
started, like I had that black hair, like I mean what people think that emo is
Yeah.
nowadays, that was like metalcore, like in I looked like that in like the late 90s,
Right,
late
right.
90s to like maybe 2003. I had the black hair, like, and
Yeah,
this
the
is like,
swoopy black hair and all
yeah, and
clean
then I mean,
shaven.
most people had that style in like 2007 to like 2012,
Right.
But like this was coming out of the hardcore scene. It was like the whole emo stuff, like what people think of emo now, where it's like goth and this and that. Like that's not what it was. It was hardcore bands that were doing side project that were like acoustic, and it was like emotional. So it was like, oh, that's emo. But like now, what people think emo is, it's like,
Mhm.
and it wasn't even that was emo music. Now you can be an emo, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like to
Yeah.
me it's so weird because it was like Dashboard and all that stuff. It was like,
Right.
it wasn't like what people think it is now, with like people with the pink studded belts and like the kind of like Avril Lavigne look, but more goth with makeup and that
Sure.
are
Yeah,
like
yeah.
trying to kill themselves. It was like it wasn't that at all. It was basically a look that was coming out of the hardcore scene, and people looked like that, but they were playing like metal,
Yeah.
basically. So, which is like, now when I look back at it, I'm like, that's crazy. But like, so like we were doing that, and then Sean hits us up. He's like, "Yo, like you guys need a guitarist." So he drove out from New York and was like, "Yeah, I'm here to try out." And he tries out, and we're like, he has no idea what hardcore is, right? He grew up listening to like Malmsteen and like all like shred guys. Like
Sure.
he knew, right? So he's this legit shred guy. We're like, play a breakdown. He's like, what's a breakdown? Like he has no idea what we're talking about. And we're like, okay, well, let's see what you got. And he starts playing like Van Halen and this and that. And we're like blown away. We're like, what the heck is going on? Like, and so after, like, he basically came to my drummer Frank's house. We're like in his mom's basement, and he leaves. He just tries out and he drives back to New York.
Damn.
So we're trying to play it off like we had all these options. We're like, yeah, well, we'll look into it. We'll see. Like we have a few more guys to try out. Me and Frank are like pissing our pants. Like we're like, we need this guy. Like we're like, yeah, bro, we'll hit you up. And then Day to Remember tour. And so yeah, back to that. This is a crazy story actually. So we get a Day to Remember on this tour somehow. Like, well, that's not. I mean, it was nothing at the time, because they were literally like all teenagers living at their parents' house, and we found them on or I don't even know if they might have even hit us up, like, because at the time a lot of these bands we had no idea who they were. Like even like when we did the first Bring Me the Horizon tour, they got on, like kids were saying to me like, "Oh, you got to Bring Me the Horizon on this tour," and I was like, who's Bring Me the Horizon? I have no idea who they are. Like, and like they get on the tour and they're all like fans of art. Like basically we were doing this since 2002. So we were like,
you guys like started it.
Yeah, like this was like the beginning of this whole like metalcore, like mixed with synth and this and that. Like no one was doing that. So these kids were all like looking up to us, and we had no idea who these people were at the time. And then like they all like blew up. But so we got on this tour. The first show is in someone's garage. Like there's like lawnmowers and chainsaws, and it's in like this like shed, and like I don't know who booked it, but like we booked it on MySpace somehow, and we get there and there's like a few kids, and like Day to Remember plays, we play, and then the microphone's plugged into like a bass amp, like there's no PA. It's just like we play in the garage, and then like after the show, this kid comes up to us. He's like, "Yeah, so the promoter left, but he gave me your money, and he gave us $30. So we gave a Day to Remember $10, and then we kept 20." And like they literally had just drove from Florida. Like they just did like a 30-hour drive.
Damn.
Like, so at the time we had a bus. We had like a school bus that we converted into like a tour bus, right? And they had a van that like their rich parents like rented or something, or I don't know if they, or it might have been like they leased it or something. Anyway, so we're parked in a Wendy's parking lot, and at the time like we didn't have hotels or anything like that. We just sleep in and that's why we made this bus. So we put beds in the bus, and so they sleep in their van and right next to our bus. So we wake up in the morning, and we used to do like sink showers. So we'd go in the bathroom one by one, and we'd just like wash our hair in the sink and like
baby white baths and the whole thing.
Yeah. So I'm coming out of Wendy's, and I just bought like, at the time, like you could buy like these fruit platters for parties at Wendy's. And I have this giant fruit platter. It's like the morning, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy this like breakfast for everyone. And it had like, I think it had like yogurt in the middle.
Oh, that's fancy.
Like a big cup of yogurt and fruit. And so I'm walking out with this fruit platter, and my guitarist Robbie, like at the time, like I said, we were like skinny dudes with like, like stupid hair, and like, and we're in the middle, we're in like Midwest. So Robbie comes out, and he just like did his sink shower. And at the time, this is like when, MySpace dudes had like, black hair and they, like super skinny with like little booty shorts and like, like Toms, or like,
fucking Toms.
He's walking out. Yeah, and he's walking back to the van, and I see this like construction van stop, and this guy's yelling at him. He's like, "Come here! I'm gonna kick your ass! You fucking queers!" And he's yelling this at like the guys in the van, right? And so I see this, and I just run with the fruit platter, and I throw the fruit platter through the guy's window, and I hit him in the face. So there's like fruit and like yogurt all over his face. Like he was throwing oil he was trying to throw. He had like, I don't know,
What
cans
the
of
fuck?
oil, and he was like trying to throw. I don't even know why. And so I throw this fruit platter at him, and he gets out of the truck. He's waving like some sort of like ruler stick, like, and he's waving it in the air. He's like, "Come on, you faggots! I'm gonna take y'all, and like, and so a day to remember wakes up, and they get
Yeah.
out of their van, and I'm like, dude, there's like 20 of us and one of you, like, just get in
Go
your van
home.
and leave. Like, what do you? Yeah. And Data Remembers like freaking out. They're like, this is their first show, like on a tour, and we'd been touring for a while, so we were used to
Yeah,
like this kind of stuff. We're just sleeping in vans and buses, like behind like shows, and
of
you
course.
encounter this kind of stuff all the time. So like they're like, what the heck is going on? And so this guy's yelling, and then like he finally takes off. He goes around the Wendy's, and their van was parked like a little further away, and they came up to us because they're like,
Yeah.
what's going on, right? And I see this guy comes around, and he stops his van, and he pulls out like these like metal, like, I don't know what they were. There's some sort of like metal braces for like
Okay.
roofing or something, I think. And he runs to the van, and he like, and I'm yelling out, sneak attack, and like, and I see him come out, and he runs up to their van, and he pulls out this like big metal, like, I don't know what it was, but he throws it through their
Damn.
window, smashes their window. And these
Yeah.
guys are just kids. They're like 14, 15, they're like, oh, like freaking out. Like, and so Bobby, their old drummer, like the
Mhm.
first drummer that was on there, that were like, me and him just take off running after this. He gets in the van, and we just start picking up rocks, and we're like throwing rocks at his van as he's driving away. And the funny thing is like one of their, I don't know, we ended up doing like 3 tours with them. One of their latest records, I don't even know. I haven't listened to their music in such a long time. And if I do listen to it, I'll listen to
Yeah.
like their old stuff, that stuff that I know. But one of the later albums, there was like one of the I think the last song on the album was like called like Remember When or something. And then after the song, they go on to like talk about like, hey, remember when we used to do this? Remember when
Yeah.
we,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
left in parking lots, and remember, and in that they talk about that, and they're like, remember when that time like we got in a fight with Blessed by
No
Broken Heart like in a
shit.
parking lot. Yeah, so it's kind of cool that they brought that up because it was a very like memorable moment for
Oh
everyone.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, you can't forget a crazy guy trying to throw scaffolding through your window and then
Yeah.
somebody throwing a fruit
and they,
platter at him,
and they
on
yeah.
top of that.
Yeah. So they called up their parents, and they were like, we need a new windshield. And then like they literally got that van, like, I think like the day before. And then like they were having problems because I think they had just got it insured like the day before. So they thought they were, how people will scam like insurance
Yeah.
companies. They'll be like, yeah, I need an insurance. And then the next day they'll call like, hey, I got in an accident. But like, so they were like, yo, is this real? Like, so they were having problems, and they finally got, so I think they actually missed like a few shows because they had to bring the van somewhere and get like the windshield fixed. And like, and on that tour it was funny because like we had a lot of problems with our bus on that
Okay.
tour. And they, like, if we didn't show up to the show, they wouldn't even go because
Wow.
no one knew their
Yeah.
band, right? So like if we weren't there, they didn't even want to play because they would hear that we weren't there, so kids wouldn't come out. And then like they'd be like, where are you guys? Be like, oh, we broke down on the side of the highway. This is the time where like I didn't even have a cell phone. Like I think we had one guy in the band that owned like one of those like big yellow, like, remember like those two-way
Yeah.
construction
Yeah.
phones, like. And we had like a roadie that had like a sidekick or something. And like, so I didn't have a phone, and we would like use pay phones to call other
Oh
guys.
yeah.
And
Because what that was.
we had no GPS. Like, this is like, we're literally like looking at
Yeah.
maps to like find out where our next shows. Like, we were using MapQuest. Anywhere we'd go, we'd have to MapQuest the next. And if you MapQuested it too much ahead of time, like there would be things that would change, and then like you'd be screwed because like you'd be driving, like, obviously on a GPS, like it
Right.
changes right
Right.
away. So but the crazy thing about that was we would be driving ourselves. So like we'd have like 10-hour drives, 15-hour drives
Mhm.
overnight. And like, you miss an exit with a GPS, it tells you, oh,
Immediately,
it
it tells you. Yeah.
tells you this. Like, we'd have guys in the back sleeping, and we'd be up trying to like drinking Red Bulls and like trying to stay up. You miss an exit, you're listening to music, trying to like get somewhere, and like you
You
miss
don't
an
even
exit.
realize it for 3 hours.
You didn't realize, like, I've missed exits and drove for 3 hours and stopped at a gas station, be like, yo, I'm looking for this exit, like, and I
Yeah.
haven't seen it, like, and they're like, oh, that's 3 hours back that way. Oh,
Fuck.
so you're like, wow, I just drove 6 hours
Yeah.
for
Well, I mean,
nothing.
that, like, that's one thing that's definitely different about touring now is just the GPS aspect of it. Because I remember going out on a tour in like 2009 or something, and we left from Atlanta and we were going up through the middle of the country, just through the Midwest. And we literally had maps from gas stations just to try to get from one place to the next one. And it was so much
Yeah,
more fucking difficult, 15, 20 years ago when you literally had to know
yeah,
how to use a map and a fucking compass.
yeah. It's crazy because it's not even that long ago. But like now that I think of doing that, and I'm like, I can't even be like, I wouldn't even want to
Yeah.
like do that again. Like it's crazy. Like, it's just because like when you don't have those things, you don't think about it, I guess. And then once you have it, it's like to go back to that. It's just crazy. Like
Well,
it's like a phone. I lived over 30 years without a phone, and I never
yeah.
even thought about it. And now that I have a phone, I'm literally on my phone. Like literally, like I'm on my phone like while I'm driving. Like I use like I'm on Marketplace while I drive. You know what I mean? Like I have all my clients, like all everything's linked to
Right.
my phone. So it's like I can't even think of like not having a phone. I don't even know how I did things before, like without
Yeah.
it.
Well, I mean, even the thing
Right?
about touring, like without a phone though, is like, even regardless of not having like the GPS aspect of it and stuff, like, even if all of that was still a thing, like, let's say you still break down in the middle of nowhere at 3 in the morning on the side of the
Uh,
freeway off a bayou in Louisiana, you're fucked if you
yeah,
don't, if
yeah.
you got nothing, you're just
Yeah,
fucked.
yeah, yeah. Well, we spent many times on the side of the road because like that's the thing. We always wanted to do it big, but we didn't have the money. So it was like, let's buy a bus, and like literally like, that first
Yeah.
tour that we did, I bought the bus. It was like a bus that was like in a field. I think I paid like $1,000 for it, and literally like I brought it to my mechanic, and I was like, "Hey, can you do a tune up on this?" We left and did like a 5 month tour with this bus that I bought for $1,000, and we went all like from Canada. We went all the way down to Florida, then we went all the way across to like California, or like we went even to like I think all like we literally did all the way down, all the way across to the desert, all the way back up
Damn.
Seattle on a bus that we bought for $1,000, and then we bought a bigger bus. Another. I think we had like 5 buses. Then we bought a Prevost, like
Oh yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
actual like. But I mean, we're still driving this ourselves, and we weren't maintaining it. We were just like, we want a tour bus, and then like that's a crazy story too. Like when we bought the Prevost, so we had just got signed to trying to think which record this was. Yeah, it was Century Media, and we were recording Pedal to the Metal with Garth. Good Garth,
No.
and it was in like
Okay.
Vancouver. And he's recorded like he did like White Lion, he did like
Oh
the
shit.
Mother's Milk record there. He did Red Hot Chili
Yeah.
Peppers. Like when we were there, Nickelback was there when we were there. Like he done like all kinds of stuff, and so we're like, oh, sick. So we go out there, and this is our second record, and our first record, like I said, I paid like two
Yeah.
thousand dollars for it, and we get this record deal, and it's like we have $40,000 or
Fuck.
something like that, like to do the record. We're like, whoa, we got so much money. We get out there, and like we want to do this and that, and he was just like, he just put us with one of his
Mm-hmm.
engineers, and he's like, oh, you guys don't have the budget for that,
Damn.
and like he literally had this other band that was on Virgin
Wow. Okay.
that was like they were just doing
Hmm.
pre-prod there. We're in this like crazy like chalet house with like every DVD in the world, every video game. We're like sick. We're staying there for a few months, and we're like super excited. I think we slept there one night. Virgin's like calls them up. They're like, "Hey, we want to do a pre-prod. Can they just practice at your studio?" Sends this band in from Virgin and the pre-prod, they have a budget of like 200 grand to do
Damn.
like prod, and like our 40 grand was just
Bye.
like, so he rents us a motel like with like cockroaches in it, like that we had to take
Yeah.
taxis to. And it was like so bad. Like obviously, like when you're recording your part, the rest of the band could be just hanging out in the
Right.
in the house, right, beside. But every day we'd have to take a taxi. We'd all go there, and then we're sitting there. We have nothing to do, right? And we can't go into this house that has all these movies and games because this other band's there. So it was like it went from like this is amazing to like this is complete
Yeah.
crap,
That's a
like
nightmare real quick.
very fast. Yeah, and then so
Yeah.
oh
Yeah. The
yeah, the
bus.
bus. Yeah, so we drove out there in a school bus, and the guys didn't want to drive back because it took us like 5 days to get
Damn.
there, right? So we drove out there in the bus that I decked out and everything. We had beds and everything in it. So the guys were like, yeah, let's sell the bus here. We'll take the money that we sell the bus with. We'll fly back, and we are supposed to be getting these
Hmm.
signing bonuses and everything that labels tell you they're gonna give you, but like never do. And like so they're like, we called up Century Media. We're like, yo, we want a bus for this tour, because we right after that record we had another Day to Remember tour, and then right after that was that first Bring Me the Horizon tour that they did with us. I think it was like
Okay.
2007 or something. So we called them up. They're like, yeah, if you want to buy the bus, like front the money, and we'll give you like a bit at a time, but we'll pay it back, and blah blah blah. So everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. And then like I was literally the only one that had any money or
Hmm.
any credit, right? So said before, so I was like, okay. So I took out, I think it was like 40 grand or something, like, and I go buy
Fuck.
this bus. It was like an 84 Prevost, like with the, like the those ones with the chrome on
Yeah.
the side and
I mean,
everything.
that's
Like,
baller.
yeah, so I buy this bus, but like when we were seeing bands touring these, like we didn't really realize that they're renting them with like a driver, and like obviously like every time the band gets off, this guy goes off and he brings it to like a maintenance place and they do an oil change and
Yeah.
this and that, all like included in these like fees, right? So we're just like, yeah, we want one of those too. Let's buy one. So we buy one, and I like did the whole interior. I like put like, I think I put 12 beds in
Hell
it,
yeah.
and like we had like couches with flat screen TVs and this and that. And so I buy that. We go on tour with it. We do the Day to Remember tour, and then yeah, it was like Day to Remember, It Dies Today. I forget. I'm mixing up like those two tours, but it was like those two tours. There was a bunch of cool bands. Like Kitty was,
Oh
no, that was the
shit.
second
Okay.
one with the. There was a band called I don't know, I forget what it was, but it was like the singer from Spine Shank was on it too. Like,
All right.
oh yeah, and so that tour was okay, and then we did the Bring the Horizon tour. So we're on this tour, and Tony, when we got so Tony, we find Tony like, I don't know, like, because basically we lost
Yeah.
the first singer, and then we did a few tours with just like random singers, right? And then we did these videos, like we got people to do tryout videos, and we get Tony, and the only reason why I chose him was because he did a backflip, and
I
I
mean,
was
that's
like,
impressive.
yeah, he like sang okay. There was other guys that
Sure.
sang way better, but I was like, no, I want this guy. Like, because at the time, like, it was like the whole MySpace thing was like, I was all about looks
And
and
stage
this and that.
presence and yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, so I was like, so all these bands that were coming out that had these crazy stage presence, like at the time, like I was before the band, I was touring with like, I used to do like, I worked for like this magazine. I was touring with them, and I was doing all these festivals, and I was seeing all these bands like Under Oath, and like I'm talking like late '90s, before like when Under Oath was like a
Yeah, they
black
were
metal
heavy
band,
as
you know?
fuck when they first came out.
Yeah, they were like wearing like gauntlets, and like Dallas like he would light himself on fire
Oh
like when he
fuck.
was singing, you know? I have videos on VHS of like them playing in like little
Yeah.
church basements with like Azalea Dying, like Norma Jean, like when they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
called
yeah, yeah.
Ludacris. And like these guys, I couldn't believe like
Right.
what I was seeing, like, because I never, like, I grew up like listening to punk and stuff, and it was like a lot of these punk bands, like the singer would play
Right.
guitar, right? So it was just two dudes playing guitar, crazy mosh pits, but like the stage presence, like there was no,
Yeah,
it wasn't what it was when,
right. There wasn't anything going on because they were stuck behind the mic.
right? And then you like late '90s when all these crazy like spaz hardcore bands started like coming out, it was just like, whoa, this is crazy. Like that's
Yeah.
what I want, you know? So it was like, and I want someone that can like put on a show. So I get Tony in the band. So yeah, we go out on this Bring the Horizon tour with Tony, and he moved to Canada to be in the band, and he's living at my house, and he meets this girl like on MySpace,
Of
and
course.
he flies out here, and literally I think he saw her once. She came out, flew out to see us, so they'd
Hmm.
seen each other twice. And on this tour, he tells me, he's like, I'm gonna ask her to marry me. And I'm
Wow.
like, what? And he's like, yeah, yeah, like on stage or something. Like he's like, help me think of something like crazy that I can do. So I was like, I had all my like, I would always tour with my tattoo gear, because I would tattoo
Yeah.
guys in bands and everything backstage. And yeah, sometimes I'd make some money like that, you know, because obviously we get ten
Right.
dollars a day. So
You got to do
like
something to get some money.
yeah, so I was like, I bring my tattoo stuff. So I was like, what if I tattoo Kelly, Christine, will you marry me? And like put a box, like, and this is like I've seen it a million times now, but like at the time I'd never
Right.
seen that before, you know? Like this is 2007, like now on like Instagram, and it's not like, this is before all social media stuff. So I'd never seen anything like that. I just like, it just came into my head. I was like, I'll put a box, yes, no.
Right.
And then I was like, yeah, maybe then we'll bring the tattoo machine on stage, and like she can actually like tattoo it on you. Like, so if
Yeah.
she like just says no, so put a check in the no, like,
Fuck.
you know. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So I'm like, where do you want it? He's like, on my chest. So
Dude.
I tattoo like this huge chest piece,
Yeah.
like across his chest. Kelly Christine, will you marry me? Yes, no, 2 boxes. So he's like, this is like the night before she's meeting us at this one show. Like, I think that it was like where she lived, like in Albuquerque or something. And they were driving to there. That's where, like, I think that's
Mhm.
where she was from, or I don't really remember. But we're driving, and it was my drummer Slater that's driving the bus. Like, I'm a car guy. Like, I
Yeah.
check gauges like while I'm driving, making sure everything. They're driving through like the
Mhm.
desert, right? We're driving this bus that we did 2 tours, and we never did any maintenance. Like, we were just adding oil. Like, we didn't even do an oil change. We're just like, had an old Detroit diesel, like just like leaked oil. So we were just
Mhm.
adding oil, and we're like, that'd be fine. And so I guess it was leaking oil pretty bad at one point, and I guess all the oil just leaked out, and it's like redlining, like the gauge, like
Oh
the
shit.
temperature gauge is like right, like. And I guess
Yeah.
we're all sleeping. He didn't even notice. And all of a sudden, like white smoke starts shooting out. He's like, guys, what's going on? Like, we run out. We're like,
Shit.
oh no. I know right away we've like
Oh
blown
yeah.
the head gaskets on order. So we call a towing company. We're on the side of the road, and they're like, yeah, we can tow you to the next garage. It's like, it costs like $1,000 just to tow it to the next garage.
Why does it always cost so fucking much? Like what the fuck?
Well, because we're in the middle of a desert, we had no choice, right? So we're like, we can't just leave it here. And it plus it's in my name, it's insured in my name, so I'm kind of like freaking out the whole time. I couldn't even sleep because like anytime we'd hit a bump, or
Yeah.
I'm like freaking out because
Is
I'm
that
like,
it?
I'm responsible for me. So we call this tow truck company. They bring us to like a garage, and as we're waiting for them, Bring Me the Horizon is
Okay.
coming through. And so Tony's like got this new tattoo on him that he's thinking he's gonna go like propose to this girl at the show, but we just blew up, and we're like,
Yeah.
we can't even go to the show. So Tony's like, hey, I'll hop in with them, and you guys take care of the bus, so at least I can propose. So he gets to the show, and then Bring Me the Horizon's playing, and during their set, he gets on stage, and like all these like, yo, my friend like wants to come up and blah blah blah. And like there used to be all these videos. I don't even know if they still exist, but there used to be a video of that on YouTube as well. I don't know if he took it down
Oh
because
shit.
when he got
Okay.
divorced, but because he had made a video, he had
Sure.
someone film it and everything. So he gets up on stage, and he takes off. He's like, hey, you guys want to see my new tattoo? Takes off his shirt, and she's standing
Yeah.
on the side of the stage because they were watching. They were on the side of the stage
Okay.
watching together. So he gets her to come out. He's like, can you read it? And she looks at it, and he's like, and he gets on his knee. He's got a ring, right? So she's like, yes. And then I think like obviously they didn't have
Mhm.
the tattoo gear, so they went after to a tattoo shop, and she tattooed it
Damn.
like
Okay.
yes on it. So we're at this garage, and they check out the bus, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna need a new motor. It's like the new motor is gonna be like 15 grand, and like
Fuck.
we'd have to stay there for like a week or two to like for them to put in, so like get a hotel, and then like, but then by then like the tour would be like
Oh
completely
yeah.
somewhere else. Okay, we're like, okay, well then we're just gonna have to drive home from like, and we're in Arizona right now, right?
Fuck.
So like we're gonna have to drive home from Arizona to Canada, and just that's gonna cost like
Oh
over
yeah.
20 grand. And like I just bought this bus on credit, right? So like I'm like, I have no money. So we're like, what are we gonna do? And then the guy at the garage is like, yeah, I got a friend that wants to buy it. So I'm like, okay, like, so he gets this guy to call me. It's like this Mexican guy, and he's like, yeah, I'll buy your bus for $400. And
What?
I was like, I just put like 40 grand into it. Like I was like, bro, just the flat screen TV in
Yeah.
it was more than $400. So I tried to take the flat screen out. He's like, if you take it out, I'm not buying
Fuck
it.
that.
Like, so we ended up taking the batteries out because I just bought new batteries for it, and I brought the batteries back to Walmart and got my money back for the batteries. And with the money I got for the batteries, we rented a U-Haul.
Okay.
And we're like 6 or 7 guys driving a U-Haul. Like there was nothing else available, so there was like a U-Haul just with like 2 seats in the front, and then
Yeah.
like a box. So we put all our gear in the back, and we were doing shifts. Like we're driving like from Arizona to Albuquerque, which I don't even know how many hours that is, but
Definitely a
like
few hours.
it was pretty far.
Yeah.
We're driving through the desert, and we got like 2 guys in the front, and then like 4 or 5 guys in the back. No AC.
Fuck.
driving through the desert in the middle of summer, and we're like in our underwear, like lying on top of guitars
Yeah,
and amps, like
just dying
driving
of
through
heat.
the desert. And then we'd stop, switch it up, and we kept switching it up because we were just like couldn't even breathe in there, but like we had no other way to get there.
Oh,
So we get there, and this is like literally right after 9/11
okay.
just happened. So we're like we get to Albuquerque, and we're like, what do we do with our gear? We like shipped our gear somewhere, and then we bought flights back to Montreal, and the flights were like I think like $30 or something because like no one wanted to fly, and so we fly back to Montreal. Yeah, and then the story is already pretty bad. I get back to Montreal, and like my boss that owns the tattoo shop, like his landlord is at the shop one day because he was telling, like, as this was happening, like I was telling him all this while I was out there, right? I guess he had told his
Okay.
landlord all about this, and so I get back and he's like, "Yo, why didn't you tell me?" He's like, "I got like a," he's like, "My dream is to own a Prevost," and he's like, he's like, "I have a 40-foot RV." He's like, "I would have drove out there and given you my
What?
RV." He's like, "I would have traded it for it." I was like, "Well, how am I
Yeah,
supposed to
how the
know
fuck
that?"
would you
Like
know that?
that I'm like, I'm broken down in Arizona, and like just call you up like, "Hey, you want to drive your RV out here and trade it for my broken down?" Like, so he's like, "Well, where is it now?" I was like, "I don't know, like some Mexican bought it." I was like, "He's probably living in it like right now," because like he's like, "Well, is it still in your name?" Like, "Well, yeah, because like to transfer it from Canada to the US, he would have to do like an
Oh,
inspection and
okay.
everything, safety check and this and that, but like you wouldn't even be able to inspect it until it actually
Right.
runs, obviously." So I'm like, and he bought that off me for $400. I don't think he's putting like twenty thousand
Oh, fuck
dollars
no.
into it, you know. So I'm like, it's probably just still in the desert and he's living in it, you know. So he's like, "Oh, well, let me see what I can do." He's like, "Give me the papers for it." So I give him the papers, and he's like, I would love to have this RV. And so he takes the papers and he calls up like the garage that we went to because I still had like a car, like for some reason I kept like a business card from the garage.
Not bad.
He calls them up and he goes out there. He flies out there, finds this garage, finds the Mexican that
Oh
bought the
shit.
bus off me. He then tells him he before he left, he transfers the bus into his name
Okay.
with the papers, right? And he gets there and he goes, "I want my bus back." And the guy's like, "Well, I bought it off." He's like, "If you don't give it back to me, I'll call the police." He's like, "This
Oh
is my
shit.
bus." So I think he like offered him some
Mm-hmm.
money for it or whatever. Gets the bus back, and he's got a friend like in Texas, so that owns like a
Okay. Hell
Peterbilt,
yeah.
big Peterbilt garage that like he just fixes trucks. So he buys the bus back, calls his friend up. He's like, "I'm sending you this bus." He's like, "I want you to fix it for me." He calls up like a tow truck company. They put it on, sends it out to Texas. He flies back. A week later, he gets a call from this company, and they're like, "Yeah, so we're sorry, it's taking a little longer than we thought. As we were taking the bus down, it got some scratches on it.
Shit.
We sent it to a body shop," right? So he's like, "Okay." And they're like, "Don't worry, we're gonna fix it," right? So they're like, "Yeah, okay." 2 weeks later, he gets another call, and they're like, "Yeah, so it's a little worse than we
Ooh.
thought." So he's like, "Well, what happened?" So as they were taking the bus down off the flatbed, it fell
Oh
off the
shit.
flatbed and smashes, right?
Oh.
Now the tow truck company has no idea that like the bus was
Yeah.
scrap anyways, the motor was blown, but because they dropped it off and smashed it, it now goes to their insurance company that now has to either fix it or replace it, right? So
Damn.
they're like the price of fixing it was more than replacing it. So basically I lost my bus and I was in debt for years. Like I ended up paying that whole bus off like probably 50 grand or
Shit.
more on my own because the band broke up and I still
Yeah.
had that in my name, so I ended up having to pay that off on my own. And this guy, they smashed the bus and he got a brand new bus out of it
Wow.
and didn't give me anything.
Fuck.
But yeah, it was
Damn.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a wild ride for a bus. So real quick, did that happen to be the same bus from the farewell tour?
No, 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 no.
Okay, okay. Because I know on that tour, Sonny had said that like the motor blew on that thing, and then you guys were in a Durango. So I just didn't know if that was like the same bus.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, it's like we had so many like I could go on for so many crazy bus stories that like I said, because
Yeah.
we were like, fake it till you make it kind of like we wanted this huge bus, and this like we had like five buses and all of them like ended up blowing up, and like and we had so many problems with them, and like after we hadn't toured in a few years, and then we do this record. Tony leaves. We're like, okay, we're gonna do this one. We're gonna do this tour like after like our record comes out, and it was kind of like a joke. We went out to New York practice because
Okay.
we got like a new drummer, and also Sam was moving to like he was going to be singing, and we hadn't practiced any of this, so we ended up renting this place in New York to practice for a few weeks before the tour. And Sonny tell you how he
Yeah.
got into the band? He actually referred me this other drummer. Did he tell you that?
He told me all about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so he tells.
And then he fucked out on the first night of the show or the tour in New York or something like that. And Sonny had to fly out to New York.
I called up Sonny. I said, "You get your ass out here now." This guy was this crazy metal drummer, right? And
Yeah.
he had like 17 toms, and like he did these videos, and we're like, whoa, this guy's sick. And then we fly him out, and like he couldn't get any of the songs right. We're like, okay, maybe he's just nervous, whatever. And like we
Sure.
do this like festival, and like literally like the first song, like it's like she will. We started with like the intro from the track,
Right.
and it's like building it up. Everyone's like, yeah, and then like
Mm-hmm.
Dan it, Dan it, like, and then like Sam comes out, he's wearing just like a leather jacket, no shirt on, and then like all of a sudden I feel him skipping beats, and obviously like I'm on bass, so I'm like I'm hearing the bass and the
Right.
drums not like
Just not happening.
yeah.
Just not happening.
And I'm looking at him and I'm like, dude, you're not on time. And I'm looking at him going like this, and he's like, and then he's playing, and then like all of a sudden he just seizes up. He's like, just stop.
Oh.
There's no more drums. And I'm like, bro, and he sees up literally right at the chorus. He's like, and he goes into the crowd like with the mic, and like, and then it's like no
Oh.
more drums. And then like I stop, Sean turns around, and he's just like, wah, 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 wah. And we're at this like huge festival outside with like all these
Yeah.
people about to sing the chorus. And then like
Fuck.
the next day we go to this other festival.
Yeah.
It's an even bigger festival, but it's like pouring rain, and they're like, oh, we might cancel, and we're like, okay, let's mess around with this guy Eric. So I go out and I come back, and we're filming it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I come back, I'm like, guys, they're putting it back on, and like you could see him, he's like nervous, he's like, and like we're just filming him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just start making stuff up. Like, I'm like, guys, guess what? They're letting us play the main stage. And like, and the main stage was like huge. Like,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, yo, no way. And like, we're just filming his face, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like super nervous. And then we're like, guys, guess what? Also, they're giving us more time to play. So like our regular set time, like now we could play like probably 3 or 4 more songs. But like
Oh shit.
we never practiced any of the other
Yeah.
songs. And we're like, yeah, you guys remember like we're like naming songs first
Mhm.
record, like you guys remember how to play that? And you could see him, he's like scratching his head, and he's like, you could see he's like sweating, he's like, and then like we're like, the only thing is though, because like and he was like super like picky about his drum set.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I'm not using anyone else's drum set, like his drum set. Like I said, he had this huge drum set
Mm-hmm.
with like all these toms and double pedal and everything. And we're like, the only thing is though, is that we have to use the kit that's up there. And like we're like, I think it's like I think we're like the band, like it might be a punk band that's playing before us. So it's like I think it's like we got like one tom, one floor tom, single pedal, and he's just like
He's just fucking out right now.
and he's just walking around like this, and we're just filming him the whole time. It's so funny. Like I have
Oh
this video
man.
somewhere, like, and like he's just sweating, and we're like, I guess what? And we just kept putting it on. We're like,
Yeah.
what? It's gonna be televised. The news is coming. It's gonna be on TV. We're like, no way! And like all the guys are like, this is sick. And he's just like, I kid you not, his nose started bleeding.
Fuck.
He goes like
He's
this.
literally having an aneurysm at that point in
His
time.
nose starts bleeding. We're like, dude, what's happening? He's like, and he starts freaking out. At that moment, I called Sonny and I was like, dude, get your ass out here. Like, I don't care where you are, what you're doing right now. Sonny, get out here. And I forget if he took a bus or he flew out, but like he literally listened to like our CD on like a Walkman on his way there. And we did the first show, and he like nailed it right away. Like he didn't have all the fills and everything, but like literally he did way better like on the first show. You know, this guy that had been practicing for like months to do this tour.
Yeah. Fuck. That's wild.
So yeah, the Durango. So what happened with that? It was kind of like a joke. So we were out in New York. We're like, oh, we'll have to get a vehicle. And like, obviously, like I was like, yeah, we gotta get a bus. And it was kind of like a joke, but we're like, yeah. And then we found this like one of those like handicap buses.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Whoa, what do we do?" Like, I was like, "Don't worry, like, take care of it. I'll buy some wood, some 2x4s. I'll make some beds in the back, like old time's sake."
Hell yeah.
Literally, we buy it, and literally on the first drive to the first show, I think it was like not, it was like a 2 or 3 hour drive.
Hmm.
It blows up,
Fuck.
and we're like, no way. So like our record, like we were on tooth and nail at that point, and our like PR guy or wherever, like he's like, yo, I have he's trying to figure something out. He's like, I got a guy like in that area that's got, he's like, the only thing I could come up with is a Durango. And we're like 8 guys or something in a Durango, like literally sitting in the back seat, like
Fuck.
in the trunk. There was like kind of like 2 seats, and then there was like kind of like a trunk that had like kind of mini seats, and like it was crazy.
Yeah.
And we did the whole tour like that. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was the worst tour. It wasn't organized well at all. Like,
Yeah.
and plus, like Tony had just left, so we did the record. We did 2 music videos with Tony, and then we're like,
Okay.
we're going on tour, and then like we go on tour with Sam, and then everyone's just like, what the heck is this? Because like everyone's expecting Tony. We just put out a
Hmm.
record with Tony. We just did 2 music videos with Tony, and then we get there and Tony's not there. Our other
Fuck.
drummer's not there. We got another guitarist.
It's damn near a whole new band.
So yeah, because Sam moved to vocals, we got another guitarist. Our drummer just got married, was getting married like that summer, and so he got married while we were on tour.
Wow.
And so yeah, it was like a whole new band, and it's just like it flopped. It was bad. And what was funny was like all these guys were seeing these videos of us playing like in Japan to like 40,000
Right.
people, and like these tours in Europe and this and that. And then we get on this tour that like Tooth and Nail somehow like organized for us, and it was
Hmm.
complete garbage.
Fuck.
And we didn't even fit, we were like, dude, like it was a few different factors. It was like we're not making money and we're playing to no one. So it was like even if we weren't making money and we were still playing to people, then we would be like motivated. We're like, cool, we're getting
Sure.
our music out there. Or if like we're playing to no one but we're getting paid, then we could still make it because we're still getting paid. And along the way maybe there'd be like a few good shows, but we're still playing bad shows. But
Yeah.
then like it was not organized well. It was not advertised well. Like they put us with these like tooth and nail bands that like were not our style at all. Like it was like
Hmm.
basically like folk music, and we were like, what is,
Ugh.
we were like, it was horrible. Like so yeah, we got to a point where we're just like, guys, thanks for organizing this for us, but like we cannot, it's just gonna put us more in debt, and there's no reason
Yeah.
for us to even be out here. It's not even like I'm not the type of person to give up. Like I'll go play a show to 2 people if they love our music, but like we weren't making any money. Like they're like, well, we didn't make enough money, blah blah blah, and you're like, well, okay, but we got a guarantee, blah blah, and they're like, well, we can't pay it, and stuff like that.
Right. Right.
What are you supposed to do? Like beat the guy up? Like
Real quick though, what's up next on the musical horizon? What can we expect from Blessed by a Broken Heart in 2025?
good question. I wish I knew. Yeah, we're still working on some songs. I mean, we don't know how it's gonna play out because obviously, well, you like you said
Yeah.
you've toured and stuff before. I mean, you know how it is. Like when we started, like we were all living at our parents' house, and it was like you go out with nothing and you're just happy to, like, it's about
Right.
passion. It's like, I'm doing it because I love it, and it's not about money. And you live in a bus or a van or whatever, and everything's paid for. You eat, you sleep somewhere, but you're
Right.
not
Right.
making any
Right.
money, which was cool
Hmm.
for that time. But now that we're all older and some of us have kids, houses, mortgages, businesses, I mean, it's just not doable
Right.
anymore. Like unless you're like Metallica and you could fly your family out. I mean, and there's big money, like which would be great. It's just that we're all at a point where we want to do it, but it's almost like we have to start from
Sure.
zero again. So it's like we want to do this, but there's no way we're getting in it. Like we did this, we've been in a van for years, we've done
Yeah.
all that. It's not even that, like, would I do it? Yeah, I would do it, but it's like we can't afford to do it. So it's like if there's no money coming in,
Then it's just money going out.
yeah. So it's just where we're at now. It's kind of more like we want to make music. want to put it out and we want to try and do festivals or like here and there. You know, if we got flown out to do like, you know, a week in the UK or like, you know, Japan or something, like
Yeah.
that'd be cool. But we definitely can't go out, you know, on like 3-4 month tours. Fine, you know, like I said, if we had an offer and it was worth it, yeah, for sure, we'd probably take it. Cause like a lot of us all have jobs that we could, and that's kind of like when I started tattooing, a lot of the guys were like, yeah, that makes sense. Like Tony was like, yeah, I need to find a job that I could do where, you know, I could leave, like I can go back home and then, you know, I can just leave or I can take it with me. So he started doing
Okay.
photography and he was taking pictures of bands and stuff like that on the road. And he was making money doing photo shoots like here and there. And he would post, oh, I'm going to be here, you know, if you need a photo shoot or whatever. He'd sometimes we'd be on tour and he'd take off and do a shoot, or people would come to the venue, or he would shoot other bands that were opening for us or whatever. So he'd make a little money like that. And then he kept doing that. So it was like, and then if we get a tour, because sometimes like we'd be on tour for months and we get home, man, and we're like, I would tell my boss, oh, yeah, I'm coming home this date, and then like you'd be home 2 days, and the manager would call you back up and be like, yo, you got to be in LA tomorrow, or you know, you're like, oh, right. So it's hard to have something stable. Where like my drummer, he was working at Guitar Center, and it's a little harder to just leave a job like that. And like he would get a job, and then like he would leave, and then he'd get fired. And then he was working at one Guitar Center that like it was all musicians, so they were kind of like, yeah, we understand, and they'd let him come back. But then like he ended up getting a job at Apple, and then he got kind of high up, and then that's where it was like they were like, no, you can't leave, you can't just leave, you know. And then Sean was doing like the guitar lessons, and the guys that we have now, I mean, we got two other guys, they're also heavily involved with music and doing like stuff with music for money. So if the opportunity came, we might say yes, but it's just like we just can't go back to like to nothing, you know. If we
like living in a van, and
yeah, not that I wouldn't do that. Like I said, I had a great time even on the last tour that would, like I told, it was garbage. We were literally we were sleeping in like dog beds in Walmart. I have videos of it still. Like, I mean, a lot of the crappiest tours were like the funnest ones. You know what I mean? The ones where you just get to a hotel and then you like and everything's good. It's like nothing really fun happens. You know, but
yeah, nothing exciting. That's boring.
yeah, us like getting kicked out of like, you know, Walmart and just sleeping like in the middle of the street and, you know, showering in sinks. I mean, that was
the
fun.
baby white baths. And
it's more of the financial side that like obviously, like I told you, I have like this house that I have to pay for, and I have 2 tattoo shops that I run, so it's like I couldn't just like leave. I mean, I could for a little while, but I mean, you know, eventually I would have to come back. So that's what we're doing now. We're trying to work on music. Japan was like super stoked that we came back, and they offered us, like the guy that brought us out there, I guess he has like a label or something now there, and he was like, yeah, like send me your tracks. He's like, I would want to put out like an exclusive like Japan record and bring you guys out there and blah, blah, blah. We're like sick. So the only thing is that like obviously over the years everyone has been listening to more music, and your influences kind of change, right? So we came back out and we did a song, then we did another song, and like a lot of them don't even sound the same because we were just trying new stuff out, and like they were expecting that same like stuff that like, and we put out like a heavy song, and then we put out like, and they were like, yo, no, Japan, we want that like fun 80s like stuff. But it's like, yeah, if it comes, it comes. But it's like that's the thing with music for me. Like when I write music, it's like, okay, like I just broke up with this girl and I have something to say, and I write it, and it's like that's what motivated me to say it, to do that. And it's like if it comes out more aggressive, then that's what it is. And it's hard because like they want to, and I mean that's, you know, that's what's happened like throughout history. It's like the label wants this, they're like, this is what we want, and the band is like, well, we want to put this out. But and I understand it's, you know, it's a business, and you want to please the customers. It's like you're torn between like, I want to put out what I want to put out, but I also want to, it's a business, I want to make money, I want to live off it. So I need
you got to appease the label, and
so it's you know, it's tough. And I mean,
yeah.
Well,
Tyler, how do we book you for birthday parties and quinceañeras? What's the best way to get in contact with you? I mean, why don't you go ahead and plug your socials right now in case somebody out there does want to book you guys for a festival?
So right now we don't really have, like, we were, when we had done these festivals, we had, the guy that was putting on the festivals, he kind of became our manager, kind of, but just recently, like we kind of cut ties with him because like he's really busy, and like we were kind of afraid at first, because we were stoked at first. We were like, oh, this is sick. He has a lot of contacts. But then we realized that like he's doing all these festivals and he's dealing with lots of bands and stuff, and he didn't really have the time
Okay.
for us. So we kind of cut ties with him. So right now it's just us. Like we have no management or anything. So it's pretty much straight up anyone in the band. If you message them, we'll probably answer you. And if if there's money, we'll show up. That's another hard thing, like throughout the whole time, is that because we were all like in different areas, just to get us in
Yeah.
one spot, it would cost, 5-6 grand in
Sure.
flights, because like none of us lived anywhere near each other. Like obviously, like the band
Yeah.
started in Montreal, everyone was from Montreal, and then it was like, we would lose someone, we'd be on tour, we'd lose someone, we kick someone out, then we'd be like, there'd be a band opening for us, so we'd be like, oh, that guy was
Sure.
good, let's get him. Oh, that guy was good, let's get him. And then it was like we picked up a guy in New York, we picked up a guy in Florida, one guy was in New Mexico, one guy, we got Sam that was in
Yeah.
the UK. And even in terms of practicing, it was tough. It was like, the good thing about it was that I kind of chose real
Yeah.
musicians that were like, at first it was just like a bunch of dudes that were like, let's do a hardcore band and play breakdowns. But then it was like, once I started getting this musician, I really picked. Actually, the funny thing is, I'm not the musician in the band. I was like kind of like
The visionary.
I was like, I want a band that looks like this. I would cut the guys' hairs. I would like dress them. I was the guy that would set up all the lights, the smoke machines. I would build like the pedestals with the smoke machines in them that would shoot up straight
Hell
like
yeah.
towards us with little pedals, like the lasers. I'd have lasers on each tom, and like I was the one that had this vision of what I wanted the band to be, and I was like, I'll learn how to play
Yeah.
bass, like a guitar or whatever, to
Sure.
be in the band. You know what I mean? And so I kind of created it, and then I chose certain people. Like, I want this guy, I want this guy, and it turned out that they were all like very good musicians. So it was like we would show up on tours and not even practice sometimes, and like the first 2 shows would be rough, and then we'd get into it again. But like that's what was crazy about these festivals, because we didn't practice really, and then we did these festivals, and it's like usually first 2-3 shows are rough, and then it starts going good, but you're on a tour for like a few months. But then this time it was just like that one show, so it was like, it was pretty crazy, but it turned out pretty good though.
Well, hot damn, everyone. That was Tyler Hoare himself from Blessed by a Broken Heart. Tyler, what a most excellently bodacious ride that was. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today and sharing some strange. It was most delightful having you here. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, man.
That's all, folks. Stay tuned for more strange and unusual true tales from tour. Thanks for listening to the Hesh Files. We'll catch you on the flip side.